I don't fight to win decisions, so I know if I go out there and fight my fight and do what I'm trained to do, then the fans are going to love it, and I'm going to win.
Whatever happened to UFC lightweight #1 contender TJ Grant? Most of you may not know TJ or remember him, but the 5'10" former UFC fighter from Nova Scotia, Canada, has one of the most spontaneous exits from the sports while at the top. Taking a look at TJ's fight history, he last fought in May of 2013. He was riding a 5-fight win streak in the lightweight division, and if you scroll to the right taking a look at the note on his last fight, you see where he KO'd prime Gray Maynard, who was 11-1-1 at the time, in the very first round of a title eliminator bout. The lightweight champ at the time was Benson Smooth Henderson, who was 19-2, riding a 7-fight win streak yet to be defeated in the promotion. The fight between TJ and Benson was set on August 31st, 2013, but never took place, and Grant never fought again at all. Let's find out why. But first, let's do some quick background on Mr. Grant and see how he got started and what kind of fighter he was. TJ started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the age of 15. He also began wrestling around the same time, competing at Cole Harbor District High School. He was a 3-time wrestling champion in 2001, 2002, and 2004. He also won several submission wrestling competitions in his home country of Canada. Grant had built a solid foundation of grappling skills that translate well into MMA. He made his pro debut against Craig Skinner at Extreme Cage Combat in 2006, winning the fight by armbar in the first round. He would go on to finish his next 5 opponents, 4 by submission and 1 by knockout. TJ went on to compile a 13-2 record on the regional scene, finishing all 13 opponents before making his UFC debut in a welterweight bout at UFC 97 in 2009 against Rio Chonin. Yes, the same Rio Chonin who heel hooked Anderson Silva back in Pride. TJ won the fight by split decision. He seesawed his next 5 fights over a 2-year span, losing to Dong Young Kim, beating Kevin Burns, losing to future welterweight champ Johnny Hendricks, and beating Julio Paulino. Then he lost to Ricardo Almeida. He was scheduled to face Matt Riddle, yes, that Matt Riddle, on June 26, 2011 at UFC Versus 4, but Matt was forced from the bout with an injury. After the replacement bout fell through as well, TJ dropped down to lightweight for the first time in his career, taking on Shane Roller at UFC on Versus 6. He dominated Shane with his grappling and pressure, but the fight ended in controversy when Grant locked up an armbar in the 3rd round, and referee Fernando Yamasaki, yes, the brother of Mario, stopped the bout when he heard an audible yell from Roller declaring Grant the winner by verbal submission. This win started Grant's 5-fight win streak that led him to title eliminator against Gray Maynard. His most impressive win to me, though, during that span was his fight of the night UD win over Evan Dunham, who was 13-2 at the time, at UFC 152 in 2012. That fight really showed off TJ Grant's diversity. His improved striking mixed in with his already dominant grappling was just too much for Dunham. He showed great pressure with some nasty knees mixed in with uppercuts and hooks. His ability to quickly grab the tie clinch and blast knees up the middle was unmatched in that fight, leaving a nasty cut across the forehead of Dunham. Grant stated in the interview that he was not originally going to receive a bonus for that fight, but Mike Tyson, who was intended that night, pretty much demanded that Dana give the fight of the night bonus to Grant and Dunham. Riding the momentum from that fight, Grant finished Matt Wyman in his next match at UFC on Fox, Johnson vs. Dodson in 2013 by KO. Then the title eliminator bout with Gray Maynard was booked at UFC 160. You guys know from the beginning of the video that Grant beat Maynard by KO and secured the lightweight title fight, but I didn't go into detail on how badly Grant starched Maynard in that fight. He dropped him 3 times before finishing him off with some ground strikes. Grant's past few lightweight performances were showing that he could very well take the title off of Benson Henderson. So why did the fight never transpire? Grant said he suffered a concussion early in the first round against Maynard that he was not going to recover from in time to fight Benson at UFC 164, so he was replaced by Anthony Pettis, who won the lightweight belt from Benson by armbar in the first round. Grant was granted a chance to face new title holder Pettis at UFC on Fox 9 on December 14, 2013, but he suffered yet another concussion in training. He was not going to be medically cleared in time to face Pettis, so the bout was eventually canceled. Having suffered multiple concussions in such a short span, TJ started considering his long-term health. He also stated in an interview that he wasn't being compensated enough for the long-term damage he was taking. TJ's wife Belinda said in the interview as well that TJ wanted to prioritize being healthy to enjoy his time with his children Casey and Duncan. His second concussion had persistent symptoms that lingered well after he sustained it. It was a difficult time for he and his wife and his kids, with TJ saying he would love when he saw his children smile, but the constant headache he had didn't allow him to enjoy it as much as he should. Being only 29 at the time of his last fight in 2013, TJ was pretty much right in the prime of his career, so it was confusing at first to see him walk away, but you can definitely understand once you realize how much he valued his family and his long-term health. His situation reminds me more of what you would see from football players as opposed to combat sports athletes. While there are some examples of fighters showing long-term health issues as a result of blows to the head, I think football players are more aware since major research into brain injuries was spearheaded by Dr. Mahler, who worked directly with NFL players. Take former 49ers linebacker Chris Borland, for example. He retired from the sport at the age of 24 in 2014 after one long season where he dominated as a top linebacker due to fear of long-term brain injuries. You don't usually see fighters make that decision, and they stick around until their health begins to noticeably decline. This can very well be because of the discrepancy in pay though, as TJ did speak on how little fighters are compensated. Fighters may stick around longer because they have to in order to support themselves. Chris Borland probably made more money in that one season than most fighters make in 20 fights, most likely making it easier to walk away. TJ elaborated on the financial hardships of fighting in another interview. He said he did well in the UFC, but he did not make a lot of money. He was able to buy a house, but fighting ultimately left him hurt and in debt, like it does to many other fighters in between fights. Being injured often resulted in TJ not fighting, and no fights meant no income, so TJ had to get a regular job. When he was fighting, he had to take into account how costly things like training camps were, which in other sports are taken care of by the athletes' respective teams. The health risk combined with little pay and the time away from his family is pretty much why TJ never fought again. He valued his family over anything else, and you can't blame the guy for wanting to be at his best physically and mentally for them. TJ is still around the sport of martial arts though, with his gym Grant's Martial Arts Academy in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. He has a YouTube channel the same name where you can check out videos of him breaking down techniques. It sucked to see TJ walk away because with his style, I think he would have became UFC lightweight champ. He had a great career though, finishing with a record of 21-5 and on a 5-fight win streak. This is what happened to UFC lightweight TJ Grant. Wish him and his family all the best, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys for watching as always. Peace.